The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
And welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland, the podcast where I can never get all the tweets done before the show actually goes live. Anyway, never mind. With me tonight, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, is Stan, the man from sunny Canada land. That almost rhymed, didn't it?
It almost did. Good afternoon, Danny. Good afternoon to everyone that's listening in.
Or,
How are you? You feeling better?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was busy.
You was ill recently, wasn't you?
I know, I was. And most people don't care. The only people who really cared was Carl and Sophie from the Hybrid Squad, and that's it. Everyone else in the podcasting world, none of them give a damn. Sad times, Stan. Sad times.
You lost your Batman voice from the last time.
I know, it's gone and sound like a prepubescent.
I wouldn't go that far.
I can't say what I used to what Sean calls me.
Leave it at pubescent. Just leave it there.
Stefan is there talking about a man with a bloody manly voice. He sounds like Barry White when you speak to him when he's not drunk. Does. Hello, Steph. And Daniel Gordon is there from actual sunny Florida. And Gary is there. I'm not sure. Gary's been in. I think Gary came over to the UK recently to watch some football.
He did.
Hello, Gary.
He was there for the North London derby, and then I think he went to see. I think it was Leeds. He went to Leeds, Ellen Road. I think it was Leeds Aston Villa fixture.
Well, I suppose you've got to make the most of it when you see a game a day while you're here.
Yeah.
And then we've got Avon Not Teddington. Oh, he's added Ted at the end now. He's like Prince. He's permanently evolving and re-evolving his name. Oh, there we go. The game's at half-time with the Spurs game. Yeah, we should have done this after the Spurs game, people, because we're busy watching them lose. Now, which one is it?
They're probably sparing them, right? It's 0-0. So
probably are. Daniel says, not today. It's 50 degrees. That's Florida cold. 50 degrees in UK money is it's about 11 degrees. That's 13 degrees here. That is another kind of crazy. Are you looking forward to this game? Because I'm actually dreading it, but I'm also looking forward to it.
Why are you dreading it?
Because PSV are bloody good.
Well, I'm looking forward to the home leg. I think for the home leg, if we can field the strongest team that we can possibly field, should be enough. Injuries and tiredness notwithstanding. We might have a better chance then if we take care of business early, then we can send out a weaker squad to the away leg. That's what I'm thinking. Take care of business at home.
Should we have a little look at what we could expect? That's us. That's not the one I want. That's Twitch. That's not the one I want. Where can you watch the game? If you're in Canada land, it is going to be on DAZN, apparently. I thought they'd given up for Premier League.
They've got the Europa League game. So I think in Canada now you have to sign up to a channel called Football
Another
TV.
thing they've spelt wrong.
Yeah, Football TV.
What other country should we have a look at and see what channel it's on?
Have a look at Venezuela, why don't you?
Oh,
I don't know why.
It's just first one
that popped into my head.
John, Fox Sports 2, Connoisseur, and Star Plus.
And what about in Sweden? I'm trying to think of one now that's got a difficult pronunciation for you to read.
V Football, V Sport Football, V Sport Ultra HD, Viaplay Sweden. You ain't going to get me. I've got nearly all of them. There's about a million. Quite literally. I'm getting rid of that now. Gone. Right. Injuries. Smith Rowe, we all know about him. He's out for the foreseeable. Martinelli, illness, common cold. Late fitness test, 25% chance of playing. Are you worried about that?
No.
You're not worried about much, are you?
No. I mean, if he needs a bit of a rest, give him a bit of a rest, because we don't want to. I mean, I said a moment ago, play a strong team as we can, but I mean, there's going to be a few of our second string or even third string amongst it. If this is an opportunity for somebody like Reiss Nelson, let's hope he can try and make more of the opportunity than he did on his last down team. You know what I mean? So that's what you're hoping for, right? That if somebody like Martinelli's out and someone comes in to cover, that they give the manager something to think about rather than just be a passenger.
Yeah, he had a really decent run with Feyenoord in the Europa League last season. Oh, was it the Conference League or the Europa League? Whichever one it was, he got to the final.
Oh, with Feyenoord, yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I think it was a conference, maybe.
Yeah, I know it was one of the two. He did really well. Second half of the season, he really cemented that place in the starting 11 and become a bit of a fan's favourite. And I'm surprised they didn't try and go for him in the summer. And yeah, when he has played, he hasn't really done much, but it is really hard to come in straight from playing for Feyenoord, then not playing much in pre-season. I don't think he did, and then coming straight into playing for the first team. It's
But then
like you say, it's going to take a few games.
This fixture should be right up his strata then, because he will know all about PSV, having played against them in the Eredivisie, right?
Very true. As a man who lived in Holland, what was your team? Or didn't you have one?
I didn't really have one, to be honest. But what I can tell you about, I did go to Ajax a few times up at their stadium. But what I can tell you about the PSV one is that probably for that away leg, it will be very noisy. They do have a very big, sort of raucous following. And when they used to come into Amsterdam, there would be lots of police vans and police horses around trying to keep everything nice and sweet. So that's why I want us to take care of business at home. And whatever happens away then can be just an afterthought.
Dutch teams are quite intimidating at home, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've got a bit of a reputation.
Very much so.
They all go around in their Sergio Tierney tracksuits, smashing the place up, don't they?
I wouldn't know about that.
For those at home, Stan, and not listening, not watching, Stan is wearing a very nice retro, not retro, old. It's an old one, isn't it? Sergio Tierney tracksuit, which is... brought back memories. We were talking before the show that we used to have British Knights, SPX, Fila, all the old brands, Elise,
Kappa.
Yeah, indeed. But Sergio Tierney for me was really the posh one. And I used to wear kangaroos, ankle high ones. They had a little pocket in the front of the tongue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were.
I know the ones that you mean.
I used to keep a £1 coin in them.
Remember these, Danny?
Oh, here we go, people. What's he going to dig out? He's excited. Oh, Deodora.
The Beyond Balls.
Is that what they're called, or are they his?
They're his. He's looking for them. He fell asleep.
He don't need him where he is, does he? He's doing time at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh dear, come out covered in tattoos and knife marks, and he'll come in. He'll have you. He'll do you. Well, someone just put something in there. Avon, not Teddington, said, by the way, the ladies are currently leading the current European champions Lyon 3-1 in France. That could possibly be one of the greatest results in the modern history of Arsenal female football. My cat's just jumped up. She's going to show you her Annus Horribilis, and hopefully, Dora, my camera is on the wonk. It's wobbling and it's all over the place. So if she rubs her face on it, that'll be the last you see of me, because that thing's going down the back of the unit. So, Dora, I can't see the screen, darling. Do you mind moving? Could you move? Could you be bib? Can you? Oh, no, she's headbutting my hand. I can't even see the screen. Right, get rid of that. I'll have to read some of your comments later when my cat gets out of the way. So we're talking about injuries. Martinelli, bit of a cold, doesn't matter. He needs a bit of a break. El Neni, we know he's been out injured for ages. Zinchenko, bit of a worry that. It says it's a calf, shin, heel injury, which is worrying when he's been brought in as one of the big names in the summer, and he's missed best part of half of the current season already.
So is that another muscle problem that he's got then? Because if it is, it seems that a few of the injuries of late seem to be muscle related, right? There's people injuring, getting banjaxed in warm-ups and things like that.
Yeah, same with the Chelsea right back. He got injured in a warm-up as well. In training, I think it was. A little bit weird. There's quite a few injuries like that going around. The cat has moved, people. Little cat update. Mr. Waffles is there. Hello, David. Pete is there. Steph says Nelson needs minutes to gain confidence. He certainly does. Steph says the Dutch ultras are nuts. And Pete says, fashionistas ahoy. I'm wearing Christmas socks and a T-shirt and nothing else. That's one for the ladies that are watching. If we go and have a look at... I've got the cups. The last time we've played them in We've played them 1, 2, 3, 6 times in the Champions League. Oh, I've been drinking coffee and got the hiccups.
When was the last time we faced them?
Hey?
When was the last time that we faced PSV?
I'll tell you in a second. We've won 2. They've won 1 and we've drawn 3. The last time we played them was the 7th of March 2007.
Wow.
And I was actually there.
Yeah? Was that at home?
Yep. 1-1, and Alex scored for an own goal for us on the 58th minute, and then he scored an 85th minute goal for them. And our starting lineup, this was in 2007, back in the glory days. Jens Lehmann in goal, Clichy left back. Oh, who's going to be put where? It's probably going to be, I don't know who they're playing right back. We've got Gallas Toure. No, we didn't have a right back.
Gallas used to play at right back sometimes, though.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking, so if it's Clichy, Gallas, Toure, Denilson, Fabregas, Silva, Hleb, Lundberg, Adebayor, and Julio Batista, we haven't got 3 defenders there. Maybe Denilson played centre-back or something, or Gilberto, actually, probably Gilberto Silva played centre-back, and Denilson played defensive midfield. But
that sounds so long ago, doesn't it? The days of Julio Batista.
Oh, wow. He had a good. The only one of those that I know is still playing. I think Adebayor is off somewhere. Cesc is playing for Como in the Italian Serie B. Denilson, what's Denilson doing, Dora? Do you know, darling? Yeah, stay that side. That's it. I can still see through you. So other than that, that's there's no point talking about any more of the previous fixtures because they're completely irrelevant. The one thing everybody will be talking about will be 2 PSV players and PSV's recent form. Just go and have a look at the last game they played. They play at home to FC Utrecht, smashed them 6-1. They're currently top of the Eredivisie, and their last 2 Europa League games, put it into some kind of context, they smashed FC Zurich 5-0 at home, and they smashed FC Zurich 5-1 away. And when you have a look at the squad stats for games and goals, Cody Gakpo, he is one of the hot properties in Europe at the moment. He's only 23 years old, club captain, 18 games, all competitions, 13 goals, 11 assists. And then I was talking on the show last night with Chris about Xavi Simmons. He's a 19-year-old Dutch attacking midfielder, Barcelona, then PSG, and now he's at PSV. He's only 19 years old, 16 games, 10 goals, 4 assists.
Wow.
And then you've got the bloke who's been playing up front when their main striker was injured, Gus Till, 14 games, 7 goals, 2 assists. What do you know about that Cody Gakpo? I keep wanting to call him Cody Capco. It's going to be what's his name? Chopper Akpom. I'm going to say like that the whole time. I'm going to keep getting his name wrong. Oh, if he ever signs for us, he's going to have to get his name changed. So what do you know about him? What do you think about him?
Well, not very much. I mean, I didn't really know anything about him until the links going back a couple of windows ago when we were linked with him. I know that since those links, his value has increased even more. I think he was available at around about something like 35 million euros with add-ons taking it up to around 40. Now, yeah. I think it's if you're going to go and if you're going to try and shake that stick now, it's like 60 million euros.
I reckon it would be best part of 80. Last season he was pretty good. Mike came over from the Goodness Pod to watch the. I think he went to watch maybe Leicester v PSV last season. I think there's something like that. And I watched the game on telly, and I wasn't overly impressed with Gakpo. Maybe it'd be the season before that, but he is the hot property of most of the non Premier League sides. That's the word I was looking for.
I did read just recently as well. I mean, just a few days ago, I think it was that Leeds are still tracking him. They've made personal term agreements, and they're trying to work out a fee with PSV for the. I'm not sure whether it was for January or for the summer.
Yeah, but historically, they apparently went for Maradona as well, didn't they? And that never worked out. Just because you want to go for him, doesn't mean you're going to get him.
I mean, the players, if it's your players agreed to the fee, so the players happy, sounds like the players happy to go there. I suppose it just how much PSV are going to charge for him and how you've got to pay that.
Avon says here, I think the reservations around Gakpo is he's very one-footed, and after our Pepe experience, we aren't keen. And Steph says, can't rate players from that league. I'm reading a book at I'm listening to an audio book at the moment. Stand by your beds while I go and tell you what it's called. Obviously, I didn't pay for it. I just go and download all the books that I want. So launch VLC, disc, come on. And if I go to audiobooks, it's called Nigel Tassel, Boot Sale Inside the Strange and Secret World of Football Transfers. Football Transfers. Secret World of Football Transfers. Transfer Window. It is really, really good. It's 14 hours long. And he says one of the scouts, he interviews a scout in chapter 2, and relevant to this, the scout says it's all well and good getting a player from a foreign league, and I think they might have mentioned the Dutch league, because remember that Alfonso that Middlesbrough signed, I think he got 36 goals in 34 games for Herenveen or someone like that back in the early noughties, and that the point he made is put this current PSV team into the Premier League, and then I estimate they'd be a mid-table team. So you're buying a mid-table team's best player. So that doesn't. If you're a top team in the Premier League, you may not add anything to your team. If you're a lower half or a mid-table Premier League team, then he's going to be probably one of your best players. And I've never thought of looking at it like that.
There's another way of looking at it, right?
Don't say Ronaldo or Romario at PSV back in the day.
No. Where did we buy Robin van Persie from?
Never heard of him.
Got him from the Eredivisie, right? So by accounts, even if he was that team, what team did we get him from? Was it PSV? Yeah. So if he was Feyenoord, I think it's Feyenoord or PSV, one or two.
Look at us throwing names around like we know what we're on about.
But whichever one it was, then by that argument, you could say that he was probably that team's best player at the time.
Yeah.
And he came over to our league and he ripped it up. And you could probably say the same for someone.
Did he?
He did. He made
first. It took him 4 years.
Yeah, he had some injuries. He was young. He did have some injuries that kept him out for a while. And you could probably say the same for Aaron Robin as well. Luis Suarez. I was going to say Luis Suarez and the PSV manager Van Nistelrooy. I'm looking at Van Persie. Yari Lippmann. No, he wasn't very. He didn't do much at Liverpool. What about the other one? Dirk Kuyt. Right.
On and off, he was pretty good. He was never a massive goal scorer for Liverpool.
So I don't know. I think it's more about getting the individual talent, right? I mean, we bought Ben White from a teams that got relegated, right? Same with Aaron Ramsdale. Doesn't mean their relegation quality. Do you know what I mean? It all depends on the system that they're playing in, who they've got around them. There's a lot of variables.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time they are a team player in the Dutch players. That's the whole Dutch ethic, isn't it? Be a team player, no time for individuals. But Pete Coulson says, "'Tis a serious game tomorrow against a dangerous team, a real must-win. If so, we need 1 point to secure the group from the last 2 games to avoid extra 2 games against Champions League failures in January." Have you heard about that? I've mentioned it a few times on previous pods. It's nonsense.
They all drop in, don't they?
Yeah, no, it's not just the drop in. All the teams in second place in the Europa League play off in a 2-legged game against the teams that drop down from the Champions League. So if you finish top of our league, you don't play the next 2 games. No. They're only doing it for 1 season, though. Mucking around with it as usual.
Yeah, we don't need. I mean, you know, as shorn as our squad is at the moment, what we don't need is extra games. You know what I mean? That's a good point there that Peter makes. We need to take care of business extra quick then to avoid that hurdle.
It's Man United 1, Spurs 0. Fred has scored just after the beginning of the second half. Lovely. That's what we like to see.
Man United are 1 up.
Yeah.
Who scored for them? Out of interest.
Frege. I think they say Frege, isn't it? In Brazilian, Portuguese, in Brazil.
I don't know.
Yeah. What was I going to say next?
Fredo, I don't know.
Yeah. Remember, who was it? Tim Vickery said that when Jonathan Woodgate went to play for Real Madrid, he was the commentator in Brazil referred to him as in Wujigati. Jonathan Wujigati.
So you made another good point a moment ago that I was going to raise as well. The manager of PSV, there's a little bit of history there as well, isn't there?
Only a little bit.
Yeah, just a touch.
Yeah, it's his first ever job in a managerial job. If you manage Ajax or PSV, you've got a really good chance of running away with the Dutch league because there's not that many decent teams in there, but they do play really good football.
There's really three, isn't there? The top three: PSV, Feyenoord, and Ajax. And then you've got a couple that are just under that sort of like push them every now and again, like Willem.
Yeah, I'm just looking at I've got a list here of all the Tier 1 champions over the years, and no, it's not bringing up second place, only first place. But Ajax have won it the last 2 seasons in a row, then PSV, then Feyenoord, PSV, Ajax 4 in a row, FC 20, AZ Alkmaar, and then you have to go all the way back to AZ in 2009, FC 20 in 2010. And the last time it wasn't any of the big three that won the league was AZ 67 in 1981. Yeah, but that bloke they were talking about, the Alphonse Alves, he that season for Heerenveen, he scored 45 goals in 39 appearances.
Wow.
In all competitions for them. Oh, yeah, so he scored in that season, he scored 37 in 40, then he scored 11 in 10, and then he went to Middlesbrough, scored in his debut, and then only got another 5 goals all season. And then next season, he scored 4 in 31, and then he fucked off to Qatar.
What did after that? Okay.
Qatar League.
And then don't tell me the floodgates opened again once he got to Qatar.
Well, he
did season. 19
in 27, but that's over 4 seasons. Anyway, we're not here to talk about those people. We're here to talk about the mighty Arsenal. They smashed FC Zurich 5-1 and 5-0 home and away with Cody getting a couple of goals. Vertesen, their actual striker, he got a couple of goals. And then when that striker wasn't playing in the other game, this page takes forever to load. They played Till up front and he scored a couple of goals. So they're banging in goals from all over the place, which is worrying because
he's quite young, isn't he, Cody Gakpo? So to be
23,
the captain must have quite a bit about him.
He was 23 in May. There we go. Fred Thurbin says, "Did I score?" Yes, you did. Hat-trick. Yeah, Pete says 8 teams from Champions League playoff, the second place Euro team league. Ridiculous. Could have Juventus or Barcelona. Bloody hell. Fred says, remember when the Greek team used to be really good, but they never produced great talent like other small nations like Holland or Portugal?
Yeah,
there isn't really, is there? They had, I can't really think of any really good Greek players. Even when they won the Euro Championship in, was it 2008? They had no real memorable players.
I think of a couple, but the names are so hard to pronounce as well.
Well, that's my excuse. Apparently, Chelsea have
a lot of Dopoulos in the names.
Chelsea are 0-0 at Brentford. Oh, they've drawn 0-0 at Brentford. Game over.
Okay.
Southampton have beat Bournemouth 1-0 at Bournemouth.
Surprised there was no goals in that Chelsea game. I mean, you look at that Chelsea team, there's players there that you think have got goals in them, right?
But they've said that they've had loads of clean sheets in a row now under, what's his name? What's his
Potter.
name? Chelsea mate?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. That is now 5 clean sheets in a row for Chelsea. Like George Graham used to say, go to a club in trouble, first thing you do is sort out the defence.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what he's done. Liverpool beat West Ham 1-0 and Man United all beating Spurs 1-0. So there we go. That's a little update on the scores because, to be quite frank, people, you're not really here to watch us. You're here with one eye on the game. Kepa made a string of saves. Yeah, I was listening to one of the AC Jimbo pod, and he was saying that Harry Potter has come in, made Kepa the number 1 because he's a more mobile keeper, better with his feet, and better at playing the kind of football that he wants. So the French bloke, I think he's French.
Is it Mendy?
Yeah.
Well, they paid a lot of money for Kepa, right? Let's not forget that. They paid
67 million or something.
I thought it was a bit more than that, wasn't it? I thought it was around 70. Yeah.
There's a 7 in it. There's a 7. Well, they look like
to not be using him, right?
Well, Courtois went to
like Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah. Yeah, to replace Courtois, spent an absolute fortune on the bloke whose name I can't pronounce. So what other bit we're going to look at? So we've looked at their recent games this season in the Eredivisie. They've only lost 2 games. They lost FC 22-1. SC Camberwell, they lost 3-0. Bloody hell, I just want to see what they did then. What formation did they play? FC Camberwell, that's what the SC, see what they did. They played a 4-1-2-3. That is almost what we play, with Van Cam playing the Partey role, Poulsen and Jacobs playing the Xhaka and Odegaard role, couple of wide wingers and a bloke up front. What if we could reproduce that?
So I'll tell you what I don't want to see in the lineup for tomorrow. Yeah. I don't want to see Tomiyasu playing at left back. I thought it worked as a good one-off in the Liverpool game, as a one-off in that situation. And as the manager said, he explained to Kieran Tierney that not to worry, it was merely just a tactical decision for that game.
Oh, I've not heard about this.
So to see him doing it again against Leeds, for me, it was sort of a little bit of a flashback to when we used Xhaka, because it was a needs must. We put Xhaka in at left back, and he done very well. But then we used it again when we didn't need to, when we had left backs that were available, and it didn't work. You know, it sort of blew up in his face, and I think there was no need to continue with Tomiyasu at a left back when we've got proper left backs that are available. You know, he doesn't operate as good into the midfield as Zinchenko does, or as Tierney's starting to do. And it just didn't work. It was, for me, it was a little bit too cool for school. One of those kind of too cool for school
Southgate moves. Defending for defending's sake. Wow, the Arsenal ladies are now 5-1 up. Caitlin Ford scored, and then Maidemir scored. Like Gary says, Arsenal 5-1, 2 goals in 2 minutes. That is the equivalent of Arsenal playing Real Madrid after them winning 4 Champions Leagues in a row and going there at their place, the Bernabeu, and smashing them 5-1. That's how good the women's Lyon team are. They are miles ahead of everybody else, apart from, I think, Barcelona are really good as well. Yeah, but you got a point about that defense. It's good to know that if you've got people like Salah playing on the right, and then you play, if you want to nullify the game, have 4 big 6-foot+ defenders playing as your back 4, then you're going to do well. But we don't need to do that against all the teams, because not everybody is going to have Salah playing on the right wing, are they?
No.
So that's a good point. I like to see Tierney. I think there's very little. When Tomiyasu started playing last season, he right back, he'd make really good runs down the right and create stuff. And then when Barry White is playing at right back, I don't know why I said Barry White. Ben White, when he's playing at right back, the creativity isn't as good as Tomiyasu. But we can't have no creativity coming down both fullback positions, can we?
I have a theory about all of this, what's going on with our defence, and my conspiracy theory is
go on then.
When the season started, had Tomiyasu been available and ready to go on day one, I think you would have seen Tomiyasu playing as our right back and a centre pairing of Gabriel and Ben White. And Saliba, he would have been on the bench, and we probably wouldn't have have seen what Saliba can bring to us, because his appearances would have been fleeting. However, with Tomiyasu being unavailable, he could slip in Ben White, he could play Saliba, but now he has this problem to me that I think he's really there's a decision that he has to make, and he's not making it. And if he puts Tomiyasu in at right back, because I do think that Tomiyasu is a better right back. For me, I want my defenders to be able to defend first. If they can go forward and do other things, then that's a bonus. But I want them to be able to defend first. But if he puts Tomiyasu back into the team, what's he going to do with Ben White? What's he going to do with his £50 million defender? He can't take Saliba out straight away and just put Ben White in, because Saliba's proven that he's got a lot to offer. And I don't think he wants Ben White to sit. And that's one of the reasons now that we're seeing substitutions that are taking place that involve our fullbacks, to try and give them some minutes to keep them happy. But I think at some point he needs to make a decision, because I want to see us have a solidified back 4 that can grow together and get to know each other without too much switching around when it's not necessary.
Before I comment on what you just said, Gary's put Barry White at right back. I love him. Sings while he plays. Never going to give a goal up. Yeah, there is a lot to be said about having what your best defensive five, including the goalkeeper, are going to be. Builds confidence. You know where people are going to be the whole time, and you know what you got to do. And chopping and changing them, it's working. I mean, we've had 12 wins out of 13 games.
Yep.
Unbelievable start to the season. But I would prefer to have Tomiyasu at right back. And it's a very good point. I've not heard anyone else make that about Saliba, that if the season would have had everyone starting, it would have been Gabriel and White at centre-backs.
Yep.
Saliba would have come in the European games, in the League Cup games.
It's a happy accident.
It would have taken half a season for people to go, hold on a sec, that Saliba's a bit tasty. He's going to challenge those two for the spot at centre-back. And I don't like not having Tierney at left-back, because the amount of creativity we get from him. Plus, he's like Tomiyasu. He can play full-back and he can play centre-back for his country. I mean, Tomiyasu is playing left-back for Japan, so I've been told. But I think we're just some really fantastic buys that Arteta and Edu and Vinay and all that lot have got together and bought. Because to have that many, I mean, we've got, five or six really top quality defenders that all know how to do their job. But we were talking about the show last night and saying that Josh, being a Brighton's, he's up. Someone moaned, how can Josh have two teams? Josh doesn't have two teams. Josh is an Arsenal fan. He lives in Brighton, so he used to go and watch Brighton in League One. It's not his fault that they've bloody gone and got promoted in a decent Premier League side. It's a bit like us going watching Barnet or Peterborough United or Cambridge United and then getting to the Premier League. You still got to keep going. But Josh made it very clear. I want Arsenal to win against Brighton every time we play them. But he was saying about Ben White, right back, centre back, defensive midfield. Well, he's been brilliant at centre back, brilliant at right back, and we might need cover at at defensive midfield as well. I think maybe we could see him play a few games there, because in the documentary, Arteta kept saying how impressed he was with Ben White's ability to learn and to listen and to do as he's told and to adapt into new positions.
I don't think we will ever see that happen. And the reason I say that is it kind of reminds me a little bit of Callum Chambers, who apparently, remember when he went on loan to Fulham, he played in that position apparently and was their player of the season. And everybody used to say, if we get short, we can stick him in it. It never happened. We would rather stick Arteta would rather stick my nan in there than put Callum Chambers in there. And it's probably the same for David Luiz as well. Do you remember David Luiz? He can play in the midfield. He can play in the midfield. He played there once. He played once in that position and he got injured within 5 minutes, if I remember, and had to go off. So we never saw that. So, and as I said before, the reason that defenders are defenders is because they're not good enough to play in midfield. These are players that you don't want them on the ball for too long. That's why they play in defence. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry to any defenders listening.
Sorry, but I mean, that's something that I heard a footballer talking about. I think it was Dean Saunders, and it struck a chord with me. And the more I thought about it, I thought, well, he's right. You know, he's right.
That's
they're
what
not good enough to be on the
they're either mental or they're rubbish. It's usually one or the other. Very rarely anything other than that. Some good points here. Pete says Benny Blanco does not deserve to lose his place at the moment. Yep, agree with that. Neither of us are saying that he does, but
in games where we have a lot of space, his passing range is really good further up the pitch. I've noticed with him, it's a good attribute that he has. He's very good at finding Saka and playing him in around the back.
Daniel Gordon says, same way Bellerin got in the side. Yeah, Pete. Our options at the back is outrageous and such a difference to last year when they're scraping around between Mustafi and the Greek fella and
Liechtensteiner and
oh dear. Gary says Benny doesn't deserve to lose his spot, but we need rotation at centre back, and he's that man. And then Steph
that's another good point as well. You know, I mean, it's not going to hurt to take William Saliba out for a game or two and put Ben White in there. A couple of mistakes. Sometimes you have to let him, you know, sometimes you have to, he's very much still in the learning curve and he's done very well. But sometimes you have to, you know, let them stand back and you know, see what's going on and give him a little bit of a breather. You know, he's had a couple of little mistakes with the handball. and that. Give Ben White a run at centre back. Play Tommy at right back, and then put it back.
Thunder's been nice to you here. To be fair, Stan, your nan has good footballing genes. Former Newcastle manager. Wasn't manager, was he? Player.
I'm the great grandfather, player.
Yeah. Won the FA Cup.
Yeah, and he managed QPR.
Oh, you didn't tell us that?
Yeah, he managed QPR as well.
For how long?
I'm not sure how long, to be honest.
Oh, well, there you go. Excellent. Right, so how do you think the game's going to go tomorrow?
Well, it very much depends on who we're able to field. You know, I mean, there was a lot of chatter, wasn't there, about Gabriel Jesus wasn't looking his best. I mean, that match a couple of matches ago when he collapsed to the ground. Now, the way that he collapsed, he looked like a person that was already unconscious before they hit the ground. To me, he didn't just crumple to the floor like he was hurt. He fell like a tree, timber. And usually when that's someone that's already gone, they're already out unconscious, and he didn't look too sharp in the next game. So I don't know if he might get a breather, and we have Eddie. You've mentioned that Martinelli is about 25% sure that he can start, which probably means he ain't going to start. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what the rotation is and, how he rotates the defence as well.
What was your granddad's name? I'm just looking at QPR managers.
His name was James Howie.
Oh, here we go. He was manager, fucking hell, from the 1st of August 2013, 1913 to the 1st of April 1920, 6 years, 244 days, played 236, won 85, drew 48, lost 103, won 36% of the games. James Howie.
There you go.
He passed at 84. Bloody hell,
he had a brother as well. He had a brother as well that played, I think, as a defender for
Brother David.
Is it Dave? Yeah, Brentford or somewhere like that. Bradford, that was it. It was
Kilmarnock and Bradford. Your granddad scored 2 goals in 3 for Scotland. Manager of Middlesbrough as well for 3 years.
Yeah.
And for Newcastle, 69 goals in 198 games. Welcome to James Howie Wonderland, where we live.
And I think, was it 3 league titles, and 1 FA Cup, I think?
Yeah, league title in 05, 07, 09, and the FA Cup in 10, and runner-up in 08. Oh, nearly did the double so many times.
I think them genes must skip generations because I never got any of them.
It is believed after football how he became a tobacconist in London.
That's right. I think I got them genes. That's what I got off of him.
Yeah, that's good. Anyway, if anyone else has got any parents, or the closest I ever got there was a youth player at Fulham in the 1980s.
Did you see that? There's a little bit on it that's quite funny about his running motion, how they describe it. He was known as Gentleman Jim, wasn't he? And a bit about his running motion.
Oh, Howie was universally known in the game as Gentleman James, but was equally notable for his peculiar running action, which looked like a hopping motion.
Hopping down the wing. How do you do that?
And he passed away 6 years before you were born. Shame. Anyway, he's watching now. I suppose we're very proud of you. You're bringing the family name back to top quality football punditry.
And the one thing is though, because if you look at Newcastle, where since his time of playing, he still stands as Newcastle's most decorated football player since either the First World War or the Second World War, because they ain't won nothing since.
They've done bugger all.
They've not won nothing, so he still holds that record.
I think if you add up every player to have played for Newcastle in the last 50 years, together they wouldn't have 3 league titles, let alone any one player. Paul Nell is there. Hello, Paul. Wearing a nice suit there. Nice. And Gary says, Stan's nan has done it all. It's actually her hand, not Maradona's. Fred's an ex-footballer. Football doesn't seem to run in families. Very few children because good players. Someone else made a really good point. This scout, we are going on a bit. This is what we do here. The scout said, in this book was written at the time when Chelsea bought Man United scored again. Penandes. And it's written about 2019, and he said the thing that people don't realise, the next generation of world-class players, he's looking in Sweden and Germany. And he said, why are you looking there? He said, that's where all the refugees have come from, and they have come to these countries with nothing. And all they are going to do is play football and do stuff like that, because to try and get out of the poverty that they're living in.
Right.
So he said, all these people coming from the Middle East and coming from all those countries that don't really play football to countries that do play football. He said, that's where I do my scouting. And he did say one of his finds was Liam Ridgewell, Portland Timbers legend. There you go. Oh, look at the goal cut. He comes flying in, bounces off one of the Spurs players, has another go, back of the net, 2-0.
This is the result that we wanted, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's very few teams I want to see Man United beat, and Spurs and Liverpool are two of them.
It just gives us more of a cushion between them.
Does.
And it doesn't do any, it still keeps Man United still far away in our rearview window.
Right, so we can get rid of those little bits of stuff there. So if you had to go for a prediction tomorrow, what were you going to go for? And people in the chat, put your predictions and I shall read them out.
It's so hard though, Danny, because it all depends on the lineup, right? So So I don't know. Let's say at home advantage, 2-1 to Arsenal. If we're playing a fairly strong team.
Yeah.
If you're playing a strong team, if Gabriel Jesus is on the pitch, for example.
I think that's where the differences are going to be.
Saka.
If we're going to have Eddie up front or have Jesus up front, I think.
Are we going to go for Odegaard or Vieira?
Yeah, no. I
think could be a game for Vieira. You never know.
Personally, I'd go full strength. If we win this game, like someone put in the chat earlier, all we need is 1 point from the PSV and there's the second leg against Zurich. So I'd go full strength, and going full strength, I reckon we beat them 3-1.
Okay.
You?
Full strength, yeah, I say 2-1, full strength, I think.
See what they're putting in the chat. Pete says, a draw would technically be the best result for us. Watching the Spurs lose is my idea of heaven. It is indeed a glorious moment. Fred says, I think KT plays, Sambi plays, Eddie, Vieira, probably Marquinhos, and 1-1. Fred, you used to be a professional footballer, didn't you, Fred? I'm sure. I'm thinking Port Vale, something like that.
I agree with Fred. If our lineup is looking more along the sort of the second string of some of the names that he's put there, then I'd go along with Fred at a 1-1 as well.
Maybe even 2-2, 3-2 either way.
To be fair.
I'm just looking at the replay of the goal. Fuck off, Fernandez, you shit. Peter's gone on with Dan 3-1. Yeah. So oh dear, Anthony's had a knee in the thigh. Oh,
he came from. There you go. There's another one. He came from Ajax, and he seems to be settling in nicely.
They were really pissed off at Ajax because they said that they bought him so late in the transfer window because they were desperate.
Couldn't replace him,
yeah, they couldn't do anything about it. Romero has just taken out Anthony.
Then again, no, the money they forked up for him. I mean, it's a good bit of business there for Ajax. They don't get a lot of money in. That's a big one for them.
Yeah, they've not really had much. Yeah, I think it was about 80. They've had a few quiet years after the £100 million bloke to Barcelona and the other one, De Ligt to Juventus.
And De Jong, yeah.
Yeah, Steph says, we'll be fine with Eddie up front. Not sure about that, Steph. Fred says, nope, never played, but Brazil had a Brazilian striker called Frege. Played at Lyon, I think, and now this United defender. Yeah,
I remember the Brazilian striker, Fred. Yeah,
it's pretty decent. And Gary says, Arsenal need a win. I'd rather not have to travel to PSV needing a win.
Where are you going, Gary?
Yeah, he ain't coming back over again. I saw Bearded Gooner was having photos taken, and there was Ian Wright in the background. How did he do that?
It was at that thing. It was like a fan thing in Philadelphia, I believe, and I think Ian Wright attended it.
Fuck, I bet that was cold.
Big fan zone thing of football, apparently. And he said that Ian Wright was really, really friendly. Had time for everyone, autographs or pictures or a quick chat. And he said that he was like a fan there himself. He was really enjoying it, and it was a good time was had by all, apparently.
I should never forget the badge on the front, and they'll never forget the name on the back and all that.
Yep.
Absolute legend. Man United nearly scored again. Oh, they were all over Spurs. I think it was Rashford had a cheeky share.
I'm kind of gutted now because we do an upset pick over on Arsenal fan circle, and I was going to pick Man United as my upset pick, and I was like, wasn't sure, so I'm ruining that now. Should have gone for that.
Daniel says 2-1, but it's going to be tough. Steph says Ian Wright is his hero. I see Bearded Goon. He was back with a podcast last night. Him and is it Ryan?
Yeah, I was listening in.
Yeah. I listened to talk about the Arsenal beer that he bought. That's take it. That's not anything to do with Arsenal. Just a place called Arsenal.
I didn't see that bit.
That's right at the beginning. So I've not gone back to finish that off yet. I always had Bearded Goon as a bit of a fatty. He's not, is he? He's quite svelte. You just look at him and you think fat bloke, like me. You just assume that I'm fat.
You get cancelled for that shit, man.
They're bringing on McTominay. It's all over. Shutting the game down. Yeah, but he's got his mohawk. He was looking quite fit. Svelte indeed, like a racehorse. Pete says, "Gotta love Righty, a legend." Right, so that is it. Me and Stan have waffled. We've taken 46 minutes to do what should have taken most people 20 minutes. Do you know why that is, Stan?
Because we don't know what we're talking about.
That, and I could just talk to you all day long.
Oh, we thank you so much.
Smile. It is. Sometimes I forget there's thousands of people watching us, and I think it's just us alone talking about the olden days. And I was going to say when we had hair, but you choose not to have hair.
Yes, it's by choice.
I've had my hair in. Can you grow a proper beard?
No, I can grow like a goatee thing, but yeah. I don't get anything on my face or around the sides. Nothing there. I don't want a goatee because I just end up looking like probably like, I don't know, Richard Hammond or someone like that.
Gary says Danny wants everyone to look like him in the world. Is not ready for that. Cheers, Gary. Great show, gents. Thank you very much. Danny in chat room. Who are we playing tomorrow? No idea. But after the post-game show tomorrow, it's going to be me and Deke, the man that everybody on Twitter hates because he goes out of his way to wind people up and he loves playing the game.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yes, he was having a go at Charles Watts today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Charles Watts said in his YouTube thing that he had a bad back, and then he tweeted later that he's got he's got flu. So Deke said, "Well, make your bloody mind up." Lovely. Right, Stan, thank you very much. It's been a while since we've had a chat. It's lovely to have you back on again.
Thank you so much. And if anybody across the pond over this way wants some more Arsenal goodness in their ears, then you can catch me on the Arsenal Fan Circle on a Thursday evening at 5:40 PST time, and on Sundays when I get up for that one at 11 o'clock PST time. So come and join us if you're not already part of that crowd.
Excellent. So where can people find you on the Twitterings?
You can find me right there at Stan_the_man68.
Lovely. Well, there you go. Thank you very much to everybody who joined us tonight. And we'll be back 20 minutes after the game tomorrow night. And hopefully we'll be celebrating an Eddie and Nketiah hat trick. Oh, imagine that. Eddie shows Gapco how to play the game. That would be lovely. Right, here comes which outro do we want? Do we want the Anfield 89 or do we want Steve and Dave?
I want Steve and Dave again.
We always want Steve and Dave. Right, people, thank you very much for that. And we will see you tomorrow.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid. Get down, dog. Splendid business.
He nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I was just eating a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at it. So when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately and get the brown sauce on and bosh, Bob's your uncle.
Never in doubt.